Hi, welcome back to another video in our channel. Today we'll be discussing on how to pick the right LLM on Hugging Face. Before we go, I want to let you all know I'll be posting videos every week, and if you haven't subscribed, this might be the right time. Okay, so let's go ahead with the video. I have actually seen many people complain that the model they have downloaded is not working like they wanted to. And sometimes the problem is not with the model because we might have chosen the wrong format. So before we go into choosing the models, I want to explain what are the different types of LLMs there are. So basically there are two types of LLMs. One is the base LLM and one is the instruction tuned LLM. So what is a base LLM? So base LLMs are these models that are trained to predict the next word, or in LLM concept we call it as a token in a sequence. So they are actually great at completing the text, but they do not know how to follow instructions. So we could actually think of them as these raw text generators. For example, if we give an input to the model like the capital of France is, the model might give us an output like the capital of France is Paris. But what if we let the model generate some more text? So when we let the model generate some more text, it might generate something like this. The capital of France is Paris, the capital of Germany is Berlin, and so and so. So what the model has actually done is correct according to it. Why? Because during the training phase, the model might actually come across certain sentences like this. And what it is trying to do is, it is just trying to predict the next word based upon its training data set. So now, coming into the instruction tuned LLMs. So instruction tuned LLMs are these upgraded versions of the base LLMs. So they are trained further on data sets of instructions plus responses. So these are actually trained in order to distinguish between the user's request and the model's answer. So these instruction tuned LLMs are the ones that is actually powering many real world applications like the chatbots, the coding assistants, and the summarizers. So they are actually better at producing helpful context aware responses. So an example input over here, if we give the capital of France is, so now the model might actually respond like the capital of France is Paris. Would you like me to explain why Paris became the capital? So this is actually sounding more like an assistant. So now, basically the base LLMs are completers and the instruction tuned are the assistants. And we need to focus more on the instruction tuned when we are trying to build an AI powered application. But there is one more component in instruction tuned LLMs. So the other component that we are going to be talking about is the chat template in the instruction tuned LLMs. Basically, a chat template is the format that was being used during the instruction fine tuning. So these actually help the model to understand and distinguish between the user's input and the model's response. So this actually lets the model know who is speaking and which text it should actually respond to. So some of the common markers are this user tag and the end user tag. So if we actually place a text between these two tags, the model understands that this is something that the user is asking and I should respond appropriate to it. So now these chat templates are specific to each and every model. So for whichever model we are going to be choosing, we need to apply that specific chat template so that the model understands. So these are the boundaries and this is how I should respond to. Great. So now that we know what is a base and instruction fine-tune and what is a chat template and instruction fine-tune, I think it is time we learn how to distinguish instruction tuned and base LLMs in Hugging Face. So in Hugging Face, there are a lot of filters that helps us to find the perfect model for our use case. So for our thing, we are going to be choosing the text generation model. So on the left hand side in tasks, and if we scroll down to the natural language processing, we'll be finding something called as text generation. So now all the models that will be filtered are text generation models. So these contains both the base as well as the instruction tuned. So an example for base is the GPT-2 model. So if you go over here, you could see that in the example also they've actually given that the hello I'm a language model is the input, and the model is actually trained to complete this particular sentence that is given over here. So each and every time it could actually generate a different sentence based on the temperature that we are going to be setting. So this is the base model. So now in order to find instruction tuned models, there are actually certain tags by which we could filter the instruction tuned model. So one of the filter is instruct. So all the models that have this instruct tags are actually an instruction tuned model. Apart from this, we can also use the IT. So Google actually uses this IT tag mostly, and this IT tag also tells us that this is an instruction tuned model. And apart from that, there is also the chat. So this chat also tells us that this is an instruction tuned model. So for our use case, I'll be using the phi model. This is a simple lightweight model, and this is an instruction tuned model. So apart from these tags, you could also tell that this model has gone through some instruction tuning if you see this chat template that present over here. So if you see this chat template over here, it also means that the model has gone through some instruction tuning. So now let's go into the Google Colab for the implementation. Okay, so in Google Colab, we'll actually start with the implementation. So for loading the model, I'll be using the pipeline function from Transformers. So it is actually a high-level user-friendly abstraction function. So it does all of the complex tasks and keeps everything simple for us. So I'll be first mentioning what is the type of task that we'll be doing. So we are going to be doing a text generation task, and the model name exactly from the Hugging Face we have to copy and paste it over here. So the base model I'll be using is the GPT-2, and for instruction tuned I'll be using the Phi 3 mini 4K instruct model. So I've already loaded the models. So coming into the prompt section, so for the base model we have to just give it as a simple string text. So we'll just say base of, and we'll be passing the prompt, and whatever is the maximum number of length tokens you want to generate, you'll be giving that. And from the output we need to index out the first one. That is why we are using the square bracket 0, and in that we'll be extracting the content from the generated text key. So I'll first run this. Okay, so you could actually see that the model has tried to generate something. So our input was explain gravity in simple terms. So the model has tried to predict some tokens, but it is actually not even relevant. So for example, the following code will display a gradient of something. So it has actually tried to finish the sentence, so we can't blame it anyway. And coming to the instruction prompt, so in instruction prompt, as we have discussed, it is actually trained in order to distinguish that this is the user input and this is the model's output. So we need to actually give the input also in a distinguished way. So we'll be giving the input as a list of dictionaries. So first we'll be mentioning the role. So in our case we are the user, so we'll be typing in user, and the content is where we'll be putting in our prompt. So we'll be telling explain gravity in simple terms. So now let's actually pass this to our instruction tuned model. Okay, so now you actually can see the difference. So it is actually explaining what is gravity in simple terms. So gravity is a force that attracts two objects with mass towards each other, and yeah, so this answer is much more better than the gibberish that we actually got over here. So this is the difference between the base model and the instruction tuned model. So you might think, what if we actually give the base model this instruction prompt? So I will try it out, but we'll actually be getting an error because, as I told you, the base model does not have a chat template. So the chat template is actually the component that that actually processes this particular list of dictionaries that we are going to be presenting it over here. So in this list of dictionaries, we'll be giving what is the role and what is the content. So this chat template takes the roles and the contents, and it would actually place the tags. So if it is the user, it will be keeping the user tags. If it is the assistant, it will be passing in the assistant tags. So without the chat template, the model doesn't know which is what, and it won't be able to distinguish that this is the user and this is the assistant. Yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope you understood everything, and I hope you'll be implementing and choosing the right format models. See you in the next video. Bye.